Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode. Today I will be covering a very hot topic sweeping across this cryptocurrency space, and that is this concept of yield farming. There's a lot of ways to make money in cryptocurrency, and this is by far the most popular one sweeping this space. So I'm going to break it all down and let you know what it's all about. So if you're interested, don't go anywhere. So right off the bat, I will be covering two methods for, doing this yield farming. One of which is participating in things called money markets, and the other are liquidity pools. Both of these options come with additional incentives on top of just, the usual, let's say you're lending and you want to get an interest rate return. But of course, as I've said many times, for this new evolving and developing DeFi, decentralized finance space, there is a lot of risks involved. So if you want to participate in this DeFi space, if you want to participate in yield farming, you're going to have to know you will be also taking on additional risk because you will be participating and, depositing your coins onto smart contracts that have proven pretty consistently over time that many of these have bugs or loopholes that just haven't been identified yet. So as this DeFi development space continues to progress and mature, a lot of these bugs will be worked out, but it is a brand new development in this crypto space. So it is far more risky to be participating in this space now rather than, down the line. But there you go. There is the healthy disclaimer of the DeFi space for you. So as I go through, this whole video, keep in mind that there are three things you will need to decide or consider if you want to participate in yield farming. And those three things are: how much capital are you willing to use? How long are you willing to tie up said capital? And how much risk are you willing to take on? So we will start with the simplest form of yield farming, and that is really just the basic concept of this decentralized finance space, and that is the use of money markets. These are platforms that allow you to lend out your cryptocurrency in exchange for an interest rate paid to you in whatever form that platform has been designed, whether it's in the coin that you have deposited or it is in their native token. There's lots of different options out there. They're also being commonly labeled as high yielding savings accounts for those of you who are new to crypto. Additionally, if you are new to crypto, please, I encourage you to check out all of the links and additional video suggestions that I have provided just for you down below in the video description, so you can get caught up and really understand, all the concepts that I'm speaking about today. So getting back to this basic concept of DeFi and these money market platforms that allow you to lend out your crypto, naturally, these platforms are, matching you up with people who'd like to borrow that cryptocurrency. Those people will be paying the interest on those loans, and that interest will be passed down to you. Now, when it comes to the borrowing side of this money market, again, obviously the borrowers, right from this very simple format, aren't making money. In fact, again, they are paying the interest on those loans. Additionally, many times these borrowers are required to actually over collateralize their loans. So they're actually required to deposit more crypto than they're interested in taking out in a loan. That is to provide some kind of security for the lenders in case, let's say, the value of their collateral drops compared to the value of their loan. If that happens and they don't kind of reimburse their own collateralized position, their collateral is then liquidated and paid to the lender. So it kind of ensures that the lender doesn't miss out. So that is the very basic concept of DeFi, lending and borrowing, and a very simple way for you to earn a passive income, again, just if you are a lender. But this being the Wild West of crypto land that I love, wouldn't you know it, that people have found a way to kind of gain the system, and these borrowers have figured out a way to take these loans and turn those loans into a form of a profit producing asset. And that's what I'm going to get into today. That's really like the real yield farmers, what they're doing. They're gaming the system, really. So we're going to get into that right now. But before I get ahead of myself, let's talk about the incentives that exist that ultimately provoke this activity in the first place. So we have the very basic, not new idea of lending and borrowing. But what really inspires this all to take place on certain platforms revolves completely around the incentives that exist there. For example, let's say you want to lend DAI to a platform called Compound. Typically, when you submit your deposit to be lended out, you are paid out your interest rate in however they have designed it, whether it be weekly or monthly increments of that interest rate. With Compound, let's say if you have, again, deposited that stablecoin DAI, you are then rewarded or given two kind of tokens. First one is called C DAI, which is like the C tokens issued on Compound. The C coming from compound. So you have C DAI, and this token represents, number one, the amount of DAI that you have deposited, in addition to the amount of interest that is accruing with that deposit. Also, you are rewarded with the comp token. That is a native token issued by Comp. It really didn't cost them anything to produce that token. It's really just a token trying to incentivize you, give you another additional reward to participate on their platform. So just bear in mind that C DAI token is in itself an interest-bearing asset. And that is very unique to cryptocurrency. And that's what's really new about this DeFi space, and this whole concept of yield farming really revolves around that concept. On the flip side of this kind of transaction, the borrowers are also rewarded in comp tokens for, again, participating on the Compound platform and for taking out a loan for borrowing cryptocurrency. They are also issued Compound tokens. But it is what these lenders and borrowers are doing with these native tokens, whether it be C DAI or the comp token, it's what they're doing with it that shows the real yield farming at work. The next player in the game are liquidity pools. Some of the very popular ones that we're seeing now are like a Uniswap or Balancer was actually recently getting a lot of attention because, again, one of those, their smart contracts had a loophole in it that allowed for a hacker to game the system in a way that would issue him additional tokens to take advantage of. So again, it's a risky space. You're dealing with smart contracts that are being tested, as you are pretty much the tester of it, and that is the risk you're taking on. But here is the concept of liquidity pools, and this is where the phrase of liquidity mining comes into play. It's regarding this activity. So liquidity pools are basically where you are depositing your coins to be used for trades. You are kind of contributing to the liquidity of decentralized exchanges. And much like with the Compound platform, with these liquidity pools, they like to reward you for your contribution. So, however much liquidity or coins you are contributing to that platform, you will be rewarded in that liquidity pools or that platform's native token as well. So let's just talk about this real quick. I think these liquidity pools are doing great things for DEXs or decentralized exchanges. They are providing the solution that has hindered the network effect of many of these decentralized exchanges, and that is the issue of liquidity. Let's say you put a trade on a decentralized exchange like 2 years ago. It might take quite a long time for that trade to take place, let alone, depending on how much of the cryptocurrency you're trying to trade, you could very well affect the price on that particular exchange. So they definitely weren't favoring a lot of activity just because there wasn't a lot of liquidity. Now, with these kind of incentive models that we're seeing being spreading like wildfire, this liquidity is all of a sudden coming to these decentralized exchanges. And it's the kind of thing where it becomes a bit of like a self-fulfilling prophecy where more liquidity begets more liquidity. And as that progresses, we see a network effect. And I think more people are going to be coming to these decentralized exchanges because if they are a proper decentralized exchange, they will not require any KYC information. I think it will help a lot of people see the light of these decentralized exchanges, and it's very easy to see how the network effect can improve upon this, not to mention the amount of money that's being made, that's being generated by these platforms. We're going to have that kind of incentive to see further development on the decentralized exchange of the cryptocurrency space, and that's beautiful. So now we are coming to the pièce de résistance, the a peaking of yield farming, and that is the combination of, these combinations that people are coming up with on how to, again, game the whole DeFi space by using one piece and taking another. And believe it or not, people are playing both the lender and the borrower at the same time to gain the interest rates from being the lender and taking the capital that you have access to by being the borrower, taking that loan and placing it in things like liquidity pools where, again, you are being paid for contributing to that liquidity, and you're being paid enough to cover the interest rate on your loan, and you're also being the lender where you're getting paid an interest rate. So it's very interesting to see how people are gaming the system, but if you think it's all gravy, there are some caveats here, and I'm covering it right now. Much like how day trading cryptocurrencies, or really day trading anything, requires you to make multiple trades to see any kind of profit. If you see any kind of profit at the end of the day, I don't know if that's even worth it unless you're using a trading bot or something. But much like the concept of day trading requires many trades, this yield farming in the way that I just described, like pinnacle way to use DeFi to yield farm or to mine liquidity, is it requires a great number of transactions. Now, the thing here is that a lot of this activity is happening on the Ethereum blockchain. One blockchain, which unfortunately is known for, their transaction fees skyrocketing when users kind of flood the network with their transactions. We've already seen this with ICOs. We've seen this with the crypto kitty craze, and now DeFi is another thing. So the scalability issue will always be present in this cryptocurrency space as, it continues to mature and grow. But that is one thing that is definitely hindering the ability for many people to actually become profitable with this kind of strategy. And this is why there is kind of a threshold for the amount of capital needed to actually be profitable in this strategy. If you have like $100 to $1,000 and you try to do this, you're gonna lose money. You're not gonna be able to lend enough money to earn an interest rate that would also cover the interest rate you'd be paying on with your loans, in addition to all of the transaction fees that you'll be incurring during all this movement. So that's why a lot of people are saying if you want to make profits with this strategy, you're going to have to invest like $100,000 or more to see any kind of real long-term profit. Now, here's a few more tips that you need to know before you go and dive into this yield farming black hole or rabbit hole, whatever you want to call it. Things you should know is that interest rates vary pretty much day by day, depending on which cryptocurrency you are depositing. If you are a lender, some coins are more profitable than others. And a really important note to understand is that right now there are far more lenders than borrowers in this whole scheme. It's something like 3 to 1. And so if this is like a free market and these platforms want to incentivize more borrowers to come in, they might be adjusting the interest rates one way or another if they have the ability to. I don't know exactly how centralized or how much control they have over interest rates. I would anticipate the fact that maybe lenders will receive lower interest for providing their their cryptocurrencies, and borrowers will be also seeing a lower interest, trying to encourage more activity on the borrowing side of this whole DeFi space. But most importantly, I hope that you guys are still watching, because this is, I think, very important information. And that is the fact that most of these DeFi tokens, it doesn't really matter what kind of fundamentals they have, because in the short term, they're probably going to do well, just because we are seeing this really explode and gain a lot more traction and attention. And just like the ICO phase, these DeFi tokens will probably do the same, but because of that, fundamentals won't matter. But eventually, fundamentals will matter. And that's why I encourage you, if you are doing the strategy, to don't forget to tuck away some of your profits into like a more secure or solid coin, that you can, maybe don't see so much fallout when, if or when the DeFi bubble bursts. And I just want to end with this thought that I really enjoy seeing these incentive models, like experiments, really play out. See how, what kind of repercussions they play on the market, see how they encourage certain activities on this market. I think it's a really cool thing to watch develop. But that combined with the fact that we are seeing people around the world dealing with job loss and, very dire situations at the same time, this world is changing. We're seeing a lot of bad things, but at the same time, we are also witnessing this cryptocurrency space over and over again, developing new ideas on how to earn passive income with cryptocurrencies. So the world is changing, but as always, solutions are being pursued. And I think that's great. That's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found it educational. Again, I want to remind you to check out all of the information down below in the video description. I'll be coming to you guys again very soon, probably on Monday with my live stream. That's always happening Mondays at noon Eastern time with my husband, Toby. So we'll see you then. But until then, I hope you guys are staying happy and healthy.